What's up, y'all? I hope y'all having a good day. I just want to talk to y'all real quick, right? So, if you have a vehicle that's paid off and it works just fine, keep that vehicle. Even if you're getting another vehicle, keep that vehicle. Especially if you rely heavily on transportation. If you need this to get back and forth to work, you may not be in an area that has mass transportation, or if you do live in an area that has mass transportation, maybe you still have to commute a long ways to get back and forth to work, and maybe it's just going to be too much taking mass transportation and paying for rideshare apps. All that stuff starts to add up. So I advise anybody that relies heavily on transportation to keep the car that's paid off, even if it may not be the best looking car or whatever. It may have some problems here and there, but it still can get you from point A to point B. Keep that vehicle. Like I said, even if you're getting another one, sometimes people like to, once they get a new vehicle, they want to get rid of their old one. But it's been plenty of times to where I've gotten a new vehicle. It wasn't 100% new. It was a used vehicle, but I still, it's new to me. I got out the car lot, and like not too long after, I started having issues, with the headlights and stuff, and I had to take it back in the shop to get it done multiple times, or I had to get something worked on. Well, that's when my backup car came to handy. All you gotta do is pay some liability insurance on it. You don't gotta go full coverage most of the time, depending on what state you're in. But when my car was in the shop, when my main vehicle was in the shop, then I was able to ride my paid for car. And then even just recently, there's a lot of repos and stuff. I did a voluntary repossession. I just gave one of the previous vehicles that I had back. It was a truck, and it just had too many issues, like as far as maintenance, and then also the payments plus the insurance for all my vehicles together. It was just too much for me to handle at the time. So I had it for 2 years, and I was able to file bankruptcy. But during that process, when I gave back my car, gave back the truck or whatever, I was able to ride my old vehicle, and that had issues, but I was able, to get from point A to point B, and then I was able just to get another car, just straight cash as well. So I still have 2 vehicles that I could go use now. Now one of them is down, but I'm gonna have a mechanic come look at it. But it always comes in handy to have 2 vehicles. So if you don't have to give the vehicle that you already have paid for, already had the title for, if you don't have to sell that or give it away or trade it in, if you can keep that and keep the new vehicle that you get, then keep it. It's not gonna do nothing but help you. You won't have to pay for a rental when your car is down, or you won't have to go to rideshare apps or anything like that. You can just hop in your other vehicle. Like I said, all you have to do is probably just pay some liability insurance on it. You don't have to do no full coverage or anything. But keep that vehicle. You never know what might happen. Vehicles break down every day. I done seen multiple times to where I was working one job one time to where everybody's vehicle was breaking down, it seemed like, and they couldn't get to work the next day because their vehicle would break down, or they had to just start taking rideshare apps, or to where they almost had to, like, some people even had to leave the job because their vehicle had broke down and they had so many issues with their vehicle to where they just had to get a new one. And if you depend heavily on transportation, your vehicle is your livelihood. So why not have a backup plan? Why not have two vehicles if you can? It's paid off, it's still working. It may not be the prettiest, but it can always be useful in the future. Even if you're doing all the maintenance checks and keeping your vehicle up to date, something can still pop up and happen to your vehicle. Maybe you could have a blowout or something, or anything could happen. Maybe a recall to where something may have to get fixed and you have to take your vehicle back to the shop, right? And you don't want to have to miss no work if you don't have to, because your vehicle in the shop. If you got a backup vehicle, you can just grab that backup vehicle. So that's all I want to tell y'all. Because I know some people, they be like, well, I'm getting another vehicle and I'm thinking about getting rid of this old one. And I asked them, like, is like anything wrong with it? And if they tell me no, I'd be like, well, you should probably just keep that as a backup vehicle, even if you get another vehicle. Yeah, you never know what might happen, Especially if you travel a lot. I travel a lot. I go back and forth a lot, so I drive a lot. It's a commute to my job. It's not no super duper long commute, but it's still a commute. I gotta get back and forth. I gotta go different places. So I can't really just depend on public transportation. I gotta have me a vehicle running at all times. So that's why you should always keep you a vehicle if it's paid off. And I also recommend this. You don't have to take out a note for a vehicle. Don't take out a note. I went through this personally. I said I'm currently in the process of chapter 7 right now as we speak. Because that's how come a lot of people are just becoming homeless and stuff, because their bills are just too high, and it's like almost to where they gotta choose between paying the car note or paying their rent, and you don't want to be in that position. So if you can just pay cash for a vehicle, especially in this economy, it ain't no point in trying to look fancy and all that. Just get what you can. If it can ride back and forth and take you from point A to point B, just do that. And if you do take out a note, I wouldn't go over like $300 something. If you do take out a note, I wouldn't. Make sure you're looking at the interest rate as well. You don't want to finance something for too long to where the interest rate is real high. And that's kind of how it was with the truck that I had. It was about like $17,000 underwater, and I was thinking about chapter 13 at first so I can keep it, but I was like, nah, it's just not even gonna be worth paying this much, because I gotta pay way more than what that truck is worth. So it was a good thing that I did have my backup vehicle. I could just do the voluntary repossession. I was able to do that, and I was able to liquidate some assets to be able to buy me a vehicle. And now, I got two vehicles as we speak, and they may not be the fanciest looking, they may not be the best looking thing, but they get you from point A to point B. And that's what you want to do. You always want to have something for backup, because you never know what's gonna happen, especially if you depend heavily on your transportation. Some people, they don't depend that much heavily on transportation because mass transportations, or they stay in a major city, or they may stay in the downtown area where everything is at. Live right by their job, right by where they work, play, and everything. And in that case, it's a little different, but that's not my case. And if that's not your case, have your backup vehicle. But that's all I had to say. Y'all have a good one. I'll most definitely be dropping some more videos soon.